So he turned it in on February 25th. And at the bottom it says, this quote is invalid 30 days from the issue date. That's kind of evidence that the council has really done a lot of diligence over making sure this is a good system for us and it fits for us. And the folks at Newhouse have repeatedly agreed to stand behind the bid price that they have. So they have granted us a lot of leeway and time to do the work that the council thought was necessary to get to this point of recommending this system to you. During the course of that, not only have we researched the system, which I'll describe to you here in a few minutes, but we have also searched down 3 other places that have a similar system installed by Newhouse, and the results from that research, everyone has been pleased with the system. I will tell you it is a heat pump based system. And honestly, that is some of the reason why we did such diligence in researching the system, because residential heat pumps, first generation, didn't really have all that good of a reputation. This is not first generation, nor is it residential. So we wanted to research what the heat pump meant for us, and people who have had it for several years, have they been pleased with it? And both of those results are positive, so we are recommending that system to you. I will also tell you that Greg sought out proposals from pretty much everybody else who wanted to give one. Not everybody did. This is a project beyond the scope of a lot of HVAC system providers, and it's a project that is in a more than 100-year-old building that not everyone else was willing to take on. We did get 3 proposals, including the Newhouse. One of them was from a Springfield firm that would have basically rehabbed the system that we have now, and that total was for just slightly more than the Newhouse one, $83,103. So the proposal to rehab what we have was just a hair more than the Newhouse proposal to replace everything. We also got one from a Nokomis firm that was less expensive than the one we're recommending. Why are we recommending the one that's more expensive than the cheapest one? The least expensive system was a forced air system that would have required substantial infrastructure changes, including a delivery system in the sanctuary. And that delivery system would have been, and you've probably seen the big tubes with vents on them hanging from the ceiling. The council was fairly convinced that our congregation would not want to change the look of this room that much by hanging big delivery tubes in the sanctuary. So we are recommending the Newhouse system instead of the forced air one. So what does the Newhouse system look like? It comes with a 10-year warranty on parts, 1-year warranty on labor. It features 3 units. 2 of those units will be used to heat and cool upstairs. 1 will be used to heat and cool the basement area. So what are we looking at upstairs? The heating and cooling will be delivered by 12 floor units. If you look around, we have about 12 floor units now, and the new ones will go in basically the same place that these units that you see around the sanctuary are now. They will vary in size slightly based on the BTUs. They are basically the same height as the ones you see here, but they are a few inches shorter. So once they are put in, that will require some cosmetic changes for us to do afterwards, a little painting, the trim, and carpet, patching in the carpet. So they will be in basically the same place, but we will need to do a little bit of cosmetic work because they are not exactly the same size. They are close to the same size. Downstairs in the basement of this room, the heating and cooling will be delivered by 3 ceiling units. As you remember, there's suspended ceiling downstairs. Those units will hang about that far below the suspended ceiling units. They will be mounted up against the walls, and instead of blowing down, so if you're under them there won't be a draft, they blow out across the ceiling, heating and cooling. So it'll be from the ceiling up against the walls, blowing out. In the boiler room downstairs, behind the big closet, the boiler will be removed and by Newhouse, salvaged by him, and the only thing that will be in that room will be a manifold for refrigeration that will be attached to the ceiling. And then also in that room, Newhouse, as part of their bid, will cap the chimney, which is the source of a lot of the inefficiency from our present unit. Outdoors, the 3 units that are going to be outdoors will be placed exactly where the current ones are, which is right outside this wall. And Newhouse will again remove and salvage the old units that are there. Utility cost, he couldn't pin down a cost, but from our checking, it should be noticeable, which, you know, probably more than 10%, which is a pretty good chunk on utility costs. And it's hard to pin that down because our utility bill also includes that building over there, which we're not changing. But it should be something that we notice when we pay the bills. The cost of the unit is $82,782.27. How are we going to pay for that? Well, we have a $10,000 bequest that can be used toward the system, which the council is recommending we do. That takes the cost down to $72,782,000, and the council is recommending that we basically borrow that from ourselves, and we've given ourselves very good terms. We are suggesting that recommending that we borrow the remaining $72,000 from the unrestricted endowment fund, and then repay that through a capital campaign. And in repayment, similar to the project we did to redo the windows, of course we will be borrowing it from the endowment fund at no interest, and then we will, over the summer, begin a capital campaign and ask for pledges in which we can take as long as you need, up to 3 years, to repay that. The council is, we do have enough money in the unrestricted endowment fund to do that. However, that's also a bit of our rainy day fund, and unfortunately I can guarantee you that it will rain again someday. So the council recommends us not depleting the unrestricted endowment fund so low that we have a problem later down the road, that we repay ourselves to that. So over the summer, if the congregation approves this project, we will be beginning a capital campaign and asking you to make pledges to repay the endowment fund. I will open up the floor to any questions, and Greg might have to help me because I just explained to you where my knowledge of HVAC system begins and ends. I told you everything I know right there. So if there are any specific questions, we will try to get them answered. Any questions? Mrs. Willey.
I was wondering, we have that humidity problem downstairs. Will this address that?
This will. The system we have now is a chiller system where water runs through pipes down there, which kind of turned, I can refer to it as a tropical jungle down there during the summer. This is not that kind of system, so we will not have that water running through those pipes in the ceiling that condenses, and you can practically see it rain down there in the summer. Yes. Any other questions?
Do we have any money in the building fund that could go towards this?
We have,
We do have some funds in the building fund, but it's not close to
yes. Some funds in the building fund could go toward it, but the council is recommending kind of keep the, and I'm going to say a number, tell me if I'm wrong, 15,000? Or am I?
in the building fund?
Yes. Since that isn't going to make too much of a dent in this, the council is recommending we keep that for day-to-day things that might need to be replaced. Mr. Moody.
In the budget that you sent around, the budget proposal, we have about $150 in restricted restricted funds that we have access to. Is that a uniform restriction, or are those restrictions varied across different amounts of that money? Is that money that we can, some of that money that we can put toward this?
The restricted funds are restricted based on whatever restrictions the donor placed on them when they endowed that to us. That is about the amount we have in the unrestricted also, but this would take about half of it, so that is why we are recommending paying that back. So that still remains in the unrestricted. The restrictions were placed on by, like I say, whoever donated it, and basically some of the restrictions, some of it is based on use, some of it is based on only interest may be spent, so that money will continue to grow. Did I summarize that right, Dale?
The restricted funds were restricted for capital purposes to earn interest. Okay, so not to be used for anything other than a capital building.
So that's a uniform restriction.
Question from Pastor Sandlin.
If approved, when will the budget begin and how long will it take?
So the question was, when will it be installed and how long will it take? He has indicated that he could start fairly quickly. I assume he can get the systems in fairly quickly. And he came up with a plan where he could start it on a Monday, have the infrastructure there, swap them out, and he doesn't think we will even miss a worship service upstairs. So it will go on over the summer while we were still worshiping. We do have a plan B, and we used that plan B, was it last week or a couple weeks ago, downstairs in the fellowship hall, since that part isn't going to be impacted. But he does intend to do it over the summer and believes he can do it without it having any impact on our weekly worship here.
Since this is not a chilled water system, I assume they're pumping Freon to all of these units that are around the units are installing it. They're going to be pumping the Freon to the evaporators. Is that correct, Greg?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you were talking about, the manifold system down where the existing water system is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I believe it is not the Freon that we know it.
It's a different type of gas.
Yeah,
The environmentally friendly version of that now.
basically what they're
Yeah,
creating cooling with.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Freon of some sort. Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Osborne and a second by Mrs. Shaw to accept the proposal from Newhouse Heating and Air Conditioning for $82,782.27. Do you have ballots with you? Yes. Okay. Any other discussion before we vote? Okay. The motion is on the floor. Could you please mark your ballots now? And we have a couple of counters who will collect them, and I don't think it will take very long to count those. I do not have one, Liz.
When will the capital campaign start?
Over the summer, at the next, the church council has talked about how it will look, basically the details I've just given you, and then at the June council meeting, we will firm up those details and be ready to roll that out. Are we still counting? Okay. While we're counting, I will tell you I had in my notes to ask the pastor to pray for God's guidance in this before we voted. So God is always taking care of us before. I assume God will provide his wisdom and guidance even without us asking him. He's never failed us before. So. I'm sorry?
The votes that come in over chat, how are we just handling that?
Do we have some?
Yeah, so if there's anyone voting, I would say just fill out a ballot, so we have like a paper proof that we had additional votes from online. Thank you too. So that's our first time trying that out. There were several people who really wanted to be here, but had plans for this weekend. Thanks for joining online. Appreciate the extra effort.
Unanimous.
Okay. Unanimous passage? Okay.
Oh,
The motion to approve the proposal from Newhouse Heating and Air Conditioning passed unanimously. Appreciate your diligence to that, and appreciate you letting us take a few minutes of your time. And the project will begin very quickly. Will you get a hold of Mr. Newhouse and let him know that we have approved that so we can start? Okay.
Tuesday morning.
All right, thank you. And honestly, I will tell you that the amount of hours of time that Greg has put in on this has been tremendous, and we owe him our thanks through a round of applause. No other business in this special meeting. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion by Liz and a second by Mr. Storm. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much.
thank you, Mike. Blessed holiday weekend, everybody. Happy Memorial Day.